And with that, let's go ahead and dive into this. Alrighty, let me get myself sorted out here. I've shared my screen. You guys can double click on the screen sharing. You can kind of dive into what it looks like. With that, we'll get going and I'll kind of step through what this broadcast already looks like. You can follow along at, let's see, twitch.tv/asteroid launcher. And I'll put that in chat real fast here. Twitch.tv/asteroid launcher. And you can see what's basically going on live on this screen share at all times. So you can listen along for the music and stuff like that, as well as just kind of see what's going on in a larger scale. And so you'll see what the program of this one looks like as well. For those on the Ken Garf channel for Twitch or YouTube, you can just follow along on that asteroid launcher as well, or just watch as we're going through this on OBS. So for this broadcast, we usually break down our broadcast into 3 or 4 different elements. There's quite a few more than that to begin with, but for the basics, we like to dive into the following. So we have a starting student screens. So we've got all of this with our starting student. You'll be able to hear the music beds. All of this is going. We've got a motion background and we've got the text in front of it. It's pretty cool. You got Be Right Back. We got a stinger there going between these 2 scenes. We got Thanks for Watching. All of these have the music to them. Then also we have a couple of ads. Point of context as well. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll kind of pause and take a second to walk through that specific part that you might have a question on. Otherwise, I'm going to keep on grooving and moving. For this one, we also have Rocket League in the background. So we've got Rocket League going behind the scenes on this one. And all right, let's dig into this. We've also got this fancy scoreboard here that is basically pulling from the actual in-game. We have an app that we use to basically pull elements from the game using Bacchus mod, which is this right here. This is definitely for more advanced users and people that are looking to do broadcast, but I wanted to kind of tease kind of behind the scenes and how we do that stuff. If you want to look into it more, I'm sure all you Rocket League players already use this for stuff like training, but it also has broadcast applications. Alrighty, so first thing I do when I come in here is usually check my settings. So we'll go in here. We have general, nothing really to change in here. Everything is pretty standard. I believe there's one setting down here. There is not, never mind. So for stream, I'm currently streaming this right now, but you can do it as super simple. Just keep your server to auto, put whatever your stream key is in here, and I unfortunately cannot share that. If you're using a different service like TikTok or something like that, you can come in here and just choose the dropdown. From there, this is your main bread and butter, and what you really want to dive into is the output settings. There's streaming, and then there's also recording. So for the streaming, there's 2 different types of video encoders here. We're using X264, which is a software encoder that uses mostly CPU. There's another one here, which is NVAC, which uses mostly the video card processing. If you have a stronger video card, use NVAC. If you have a stronger CPU, use X264. We have it set to 1920 by 1080. We do not need to rescale it because in our settings already for, I always forget where it is, video here, we have the canvas set to 1920 by 1080. We have the output scaled and we have our FPS set to 30. So for these settings, if you just want a quick rundown of what these are, rate control, these all stand for different things. Constant bitrate, adaptable bitrate, variable bitrate, and then constant required frames, I think is what this last one is. And all of these are just different ways of pushing to Twitch effectively. Bitrate is basically the rate at which it encodes the stream. So for example, for bitrate on a broadcast, most Twitch broadcasts are somewhere between 5,000 to 7,500 kilobits per second. And that's just the amount of data that you were actually sending. You would want to boost this up, the bitrate number, if there was a situation like Rocket League, where Rocket League has a lot of motion on screen. So you need to send more data because every single frame or every single pixel on the screen is changing every single moment of Rocket League. Just the way the camera moves, the balls operate, etc. Compared to take it like Valorant, for example, that has a lot of like static UI elements where they don't actually change that much. So like there's 20% of the screen that is just never changing. Whereas on Rocket League, I think there's like less than like 2% of the screen that doesn't change. And that's just your scoreboard element. Keyframe interval, 0 is fine to keep it auto. 2 is usually the standard for Twitch. For CPU usage, there's a whole bunch of settings here, and this is basically ultra fast. If you have a poor PC and you can't really run it that well, and you're having trouble running the game and the thing, you can push it up to ultra fast. And ultra fast will make it so that it encodes more on this PC, so it sends a more condensed package over the network. We have ours set to medium just because we were using a higher intensity game, and this PC can definitely take higher. Profile, most people will use main. High is used for if you have anything over about like 6,000 and you want to push the CPU usage preference. And yeah, from there, that's pretty much the settings. Recording will mirror it. I highly recommend using like MKV or MP4, or avoid using MP4 as best as possible, because MP4, if the stream crashes in the middle of it, you will not be able to recover it. And the MP4 file will be corrupted and your entire VOD will be gone. So it is a very scary situation, but I want to stress that you should avoid it unless you are highly confident in your broadcast, which could be a case. There's also a situation here for automatic filing splitting. You can split it every 15 minutes. That is usually what I do, and I record an MP4. Would recommend. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of hotkeys and everything like that that you can dive into more here. The most useful thing otherwise is to go under advanced. And then process priority, I always like to set this to high because this is the main thing that should be going on. And then from there, there's also an option for stream delay. And that's just under advanced. Scroll halfway through. Some games you like to have it at like 120 seconds for broadcast, but for your personal streams on like Twitch and stuff, you shouldn't really need that. Cool. Now let's build a show. You can see here just a quick UI rundown. We have the scenes on the left here. So these are all the different scenes that we are switching between. We have the sources, which are, think of it like Photoshop, where there's like different layers that you can put into this. And that's what each one of these are. These are different sources for video, audio, whatever you want to put on basically your canvas in the top here. It's like different like paintbrushes that you can put on here. So think of these as like different colors that you can mix together to create a unique painting. You have the audio mixer down here, and you can basically just listen in on each one of these. So like audio capture here was specifically for capturing like any of the Rocket League stuff. And we don't have any audio coming through it right now because it sounds like the music is off. And then desktop audio, we can capture it here. Mic and audio, or mic and aux, all of that's right there. I'm going to kick us into a game real fast just so we can have a quick demo. Let's do play offline. No, I don't want to do that. Private match. Here we go. Where's our bots? Okay. And then I want to set it so that there is... Yes, great match. We'll just join and spectate that and have the bots. So now you can see there's the audio capture right here. And normally you wouldn't do this for a broadcast, but just for the sake of testing this out so you're in show levels, I just wanted that to be a thing. So if you're trying to test your microphone, for example, and you just can't hear it and stuff like this is basically your levels here. So this pumps it down to 0. So if I want to do that with Rocket League, all the way down to 0, you'll still be able to hear it because it's running in the background. But if you wanted to listen into your microphone itself, it will have a bit of a software delay. So I would suggest avoiding it as best as possible to doing this. But if you just want to test to make sure that the audio is correct, it's picking up your correct microphone, you can click on this little hamburger menu here, go to advanced audio properties, and then just choose whichever one you want. So in this case, if we're listening for the mic, it's this microphone setting. Go all the way to the right here, and it will monitor and output. If you choose monitor only, then it will not go out to stream. If you choose monitor and output, it'll go out to both, and you'll be able to hear that within your headphones. Other than building a scene, let's start with a brand new scene. So now we've got nothing. Absolutely nothing in here. And you can see your collection of scenes. The brand new one starts down here. To make things a little bit easier, actually we'll dive into that in a second later. We'll come in here, you click this little plus button here, and you've got a wide variety of things that you can choose, including even deprecated things. For most gameplay stuff that we want to figure out, we'll come in here and literally just look for what's our game. Cool. Game capture. Let's name this Rocket League capture. Let's capture a specific window, and then we'll choose here. We're kind of looking for our Rocket League. There it is. And it just pops up here. There's a bunch of different settings down here. If you don't recognize them, that's perfectly fine. If you do or something's not working, you can come in here and change things. For game capture, I usually turn off the capture of the cursor, unless there's a situation where you're playing like an RTS or a strategy game or like a sim game where you really want to see your mouse and where it's moving, or even if you're just pointing around on like a web browser. Just press OK. So we've got our Rocket League thing. Rocket League capture. Let's say we want to add in here, let's see, audio input capture. So for example, like you can see the microphone is here, but let's say we wanted to have another microphone, or we wanted to use a different type of microphone. You can come in here and choose audio input capture, test mic, and then choose whichever devices are available. Actually, the best one on the PC doesn't have any devices, I realize in hindsight. But for example, if you wanted to change this microphone setting on the mic and aux, you can also come in here under general, I believe it is. It's been a while since I did dug into this. I think it's audio. Here it is. So you can choose what you want to be your desktop audio, and you can choose what you want your microphone device to be. This is really useful for when you have a situation where you just want to capture the desktop itself, but you don't want to capture what you're spitting out. Or like if you have a specific microphone, like you have a webcam and then you have your actual like Blue Yeti microphone, and you have like an actual like handheld mic somewhere else. If you just want to choose which one that you want here, you just basically choose here, and it's a very quick and easy way of doing it other than adding those test inputs. Your monitoring device is basically what you'll hear when you do that. Click on the hamburger menu and then go to advanced settings and then monitor and output. Make sure you have this set to your headphones. Otherwise it'll just go to the default. And if you don't have everything set to the default up here, it'll also go out to your program. So you can set this up to be just to your headphones and avoid having it to like a different speaker or something like that. Cool. Let's say we wanted to add various different sources here. So like, for example, if we wanted to remove the Rocket League from the game and we wanted to make a starting soon screen, we'll come in here and choose an image. So I already have a couple images already queued up. So we have our BRB, and this one is obviously like all sorts of not quite right in this situation. So it's as simple as basically just moving this, and it'll retain its aspect ratio in this situation. If you wanted to crop something, so like for example, we wanted to get rid of this white bar on the bottom, you would hold down Alt, that is Alt, A-L-T, and then basically drag up from here, and it'll create this green bar where it shows that it's cropped. Easier way to do this as well is to come in here and you can right click. There's a huge menu that comes up for this. The one that you're mainly looking for here is transform, and you can come in here and press fit to screen, and it'll automatically lock it in for you. If you have something that is already 1920 by 1080 that you just need to toss in there, it is absolutely fantastic for doing just that. From there, it's a simple matter of basically coming in here, and this is a pretty bland background. But let's say we wanted to throw in like a moving background, like we wanted to have like a lo-fi kind of feel or something like that. We can come in here and right-click on this, add media source. And we have a couple of media sources already in this show. So we can just come in here and choose the one that we have here of looping background. So we have our looping background. Now this is a situation of where'd our BRB go? And once again, this is also like just way out of scale and not quite right. So we'll come in here and we'll do the same thing we did earlier. Right click, transform, and then we're gonna fit to screen. And this does recognize order. So this is the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. So we're gonna come in here and put the looping background behind the BRB, and then we're good to go. But we're missing the music, right? We don't have like a cool BRB music or anything like that. Well, yeah, you're right. So let's do right click add again, and we're gonna come in here and choose a media source. And this is kind of your catch-all for like MP3s, MP4s, basically any type of media that you want to play on your broadcast. So we got music bed. And this music bed is basically just a local file, an MP3 file that we set to loop. It's a local file, and we can close it when it's inactive or whatever we want to do. Or we can turn up the speed. There's a lot of different options here, but you don't really have to worry about these technical ones at the bottom here. I don't know why they even have color range for music. And this one, because it's just music in the background, doesn't have anything on the visual display, so it won't be covering up anything. You can see it here, and you can listen to it on the Asteroid Launcher channel as well. For those that have just joined as well, type in twitch.tv/asteroid launcher to view what is happening live in this OBS broadcast, and you can see what's happening there, as well as the Ken Garf channel. So, music bed. We finally have an audio input that we can listen to. Warning, this is probably going to be pretty loud. So we can see it here with the monitor and output. It's being sent to both. We can see the levels here. Having this in this -10 is usually a pretty good thing. That's not too loud or not too quiet. Even though it sounds loud, the part that is going out to program is pretty correct. For example, like if this were boosted all the way, see how it's red and it's kind of screaming at you visually? You want to turn that down until it's basically in that like -5-ish range. You want it to periodically peak into the red, but not live in the red. It's usually pretty good to be somewhere in this -15 to -10 range. If you go into the -5 range, like when people yell and they're shoutcasting and stuff like that, that's perfectly fine. And even if it does the yelling situation, it's good to have that there when people get excited. So, pretty basic, pretty standard. We've got our BRI back screen. Congratulations. That is all done, and it is basically just 3 easy inputs here. From there, if you wanted to add like an individual video, so like say for example, I'm going to show you studio mode. And so on our right here, we have the program, and that is what is going out to stream. On the left here, we have our preview, and that is basically private to us, and that is just what we are seeing. So if we wanted to do like a hype reel, for example, like we've got our hype video here, and this is just for commercials, and then you press cut, and it just goes between the scenes. It's playing the audio. You can see it here, seeing how it's live. And you can see once again, it's like peeking into the red just a slight bit, but it's just right there. And if we wanted to listen to it, warning, this is going to be loud again. Hype video. There we go.
Could be anywhere else. Donut?
It's a good place to come to.
I already had a bagel this morning.
Is that good? Oh my god. That was so good. That one felt the
And
best.
so now you can also freely come through here
It's something that brings
and look on the
together
side
good people
while
who
you're
care
kind
about
of editing and while this program is going live. So like say, for example, you wanted the BRB, oh, this was out of place. It's really supposed to look like this. I don't know why it would look like that, but you know, it could. And boom, now you have your BRI back screen that is edited more correctly, and you can just transition between the two, and now you're good to go. Music bed is going. Voila. Easy peasy. Cool. Beyond that, I kind of want to do some quick stuff for people that may be like streaming personally. There's some wonderful tools that you should look into called Streamlabs. You don't need to download their full Streamlabs OBS. It is a special version of that software OBS that does have better tools and better integrations that does make it a little bit easier. It is more demanding on your PC and does have some difficulties. If you're a dedicated streamer, it is a good piece of software and I would recommend it. If you are not dedicated to streaming, no need to dive into it. Let me cut away for a second to, where's my full screen? No looking at that login. Hold on one moment. I just got to log into Streamlabs to kind of show you guys how to do those cool notifications and all sorts of interesting little tools and tidbits that incentivize people to keep on donating and watching your streams. I'm going to log into my personal Twitch just so we can kind of dive into it. I can't divulge the information of SSG's Twitch, unfortunately. Cool. Once you log in, it goes to this this interesting dashboard here of basically diving into what you've done in the past. These are, as you can see, it's been a while since I have streamed. This was dark and darker, and I very rarely stream, but it's enough to be able to see. So you can dive into what you've had, like how many viewers, average viewers, etc. But the fun part starts here with all of these alerts, and they have full documentation for a lot of this. That is absolutely fantastic. If you're interested in this more, I can give you kind of an oversight, but each one of their things has a fantastic beginner's guide. We've got alert boxes. We've got all sorts of widgets here that you can come in here and you can download and you can use if you want to stylize it, whatever you want. You want techno, you want to have like Star Guardians kind of feel. They have these wonderful app store that you can come in here and basically download entire creative assets just at their disposals. Some of them cost like $5, some of them cost up to $50. Some of them are free with their Ultra, which is a subscription for Streamlabs. Just depends on what you really want. A lot of cool things here, though. Would recommend looking into it. Take me back. There you go. They'll even do stuff with like setting up your like individual merch store. So like if you wanted to create individual merch to give to your creators, you can just drop images here and they'll handle the rest of it. They'll take a pretty good percentage, but it's pretty cool. Full creator sites as well. They'll create a website for you. There's a lot of very, very cool tools that are catered specifically towards streamers. Nothing more that you can figure out though. So let's copy our alert box real fast. Yeah, I know. You take this alert box, the widget URL, and it'll basically integrate into your OBS in whatever manner that you want. So like, let's take our OBS here, and then you want to, I'm gonna go back out of studio mode, right click here, and these are web browser inputs. So it's basically just another layer on top of all of this that is a web browser. If I can find web browser, am I done? Here it is. Alert box. I can't spell. Alert box. And it's going to look a little weird, but that's not the URL. So this will be the URL of whatever your alert box is. This is the one that I just copied. You can set it to whatever resolution, but I just suggest leaving it default just to see what it looks like. So now we've basically got this alert box that is this transparent area here, and it will only show whenever Streamlabs plays something. So let's go to our Streamlabs. And so let's do a test follow. So now you can see the test follow. It's right there. Shabam, it works. And you can kind of step through each one of these and have your resub. These will all hook automatically into your Twitch. So you don't need to do any of the technical programming or anything like this. You just have to make it aesthetic and make it look cool. And to do that, you have to go through here and let me full screen this again. Go through all your widgets. They've changed this a little bit since I have done this. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Used to just be like, they'd have it all on the side here. Now they've changed it significantly. Oh, here it is. So let's see. Here's your alert box, and you can dive into the specifics of all of these here. You can replace all sorts of bad words if you want to do that. That's probably a good thing. Here it is. Manage themes. Default. Create widget theme. Test theme. Then you can even come in here and have like individualized checkboxes. You can copy each one of these URL for like a donation ticker, a custom widget. All of this is incredibly easy to dig into and break into. So like for, let's say we wanted our donation goal here, you just come in here, add, browser, donation goal, shabam. And now you can see my little donation goal here. It might pop up and have like this filler. See, why is it doing that? Do I have to verify that I am human through Streamlabs? That's a new one. Normally it works just fine. Cool. A lot of different things you can do. A lot of different ways to dive into them. There's also stream elements. That is supposed to be pretty good. Would recommend looking into this. It will give you just one link instead of all of these miniature links. So if you want something that is a more turnkey and simpler solution, they have this ability to basically just take your alerts, take everything that you want, and immediately get your show basically ready to rock and roll in one piece. And then you just change between the individualized settings and you're good. It's pretty seamless. Would recommend for those starters that just kind of want to get into it a little bit and have their like personalized stream. Yeah. Anyone got any immediate questions? I know it's just you two for now, but if there's something you want me to specifically dive into, I can definitely do that. If not, that's pretty much the basics of how to dive into OBS in a quick 30 minutes. OBS stands for Open Broadcast Software, so it is this tool itself. You can download this from, I believe it's literally just obsproject.com. So obsproject.com. It's right here. It's completely free. Completely free. You can download it on Windows, Mac OS, whatever you would like. And it is probably the broadcast standard, golden standard for like encoding. Their encoding is unrivaled compared to anything else. Oh, sorry, I cut the stream away for a second. So just download it at obsproject.com for free. The best price. Cool. That is pretty much it for this. Thank you so much for you guys tuning in. This custom scoreboard as well is a specialized tool. If you just look into Rocket League Bacchus mod tools, it'll basically, you have to hire someone to create a script for you. But for us in this case, it's basically this little browser, and then same thing as I was doing with like Stream Elements, you come in here and you copy this and then upload it and manage it all through a different like graphics controller. Do other games have Bacchus mod style scoreboards and in-game overlays? So for example, like Valorant would have something kind of relatively simplified. That's usually done as like a separate web controller. So there's different tools. Let's see if I can remember them for OBS. League of Legends, OBS scoreboard. There's a specific tool, and I'll dig into it and see if I can find it later. I think it's been so long since I've done League of Legends and OBS, but it's basically, think of it as you come in here and you just change like the numbers. So you'll come in here, you'll create a number, just literally like a giant 2, and you have to come in here and put it over whatever your custom overlay is. So like imagine in this case, if you had this asset, you'd have to come in here and put these numbers in, and then you can come in here and link them to stuff. So instead of it coming from this actual text, you can read it from a file. And there's all sorts of interesting ways to dive into this. If you want to look into it, just basically search for linking OBS text to spreadsheet. And there's all sorts of really cool documentation that allows you to do exactly that and update the scoreboard. Coach B24. Yeah, if you want, you can upload or just type their names in here and we'll take a record of that. If not, we'll still be having open tryouts, and I think we can also break down the workshop of who's watching it. But always useful to have it in chat. Cool. Did that help answer your question, Jeff? Perfect. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching along. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in general and tag me. I would love to dive into this and help people with it for either vMix, OBS, or whatever it is. And I'll talk to you guys hopefully in the future at our next invitational. Or if not, March. Cool. Talk to y'all later.